Hello YouTube and welcome to another video. I'm going to try to solve some more tactics today, so join in. And before I start, I'm just going to tell you that whenever you find me solving a new puzzle, you can pause the video and try to solve it yourself. I think that's a much better way for you to actually solve it instead of just listening into what I'm saying. And if you're stuck, then sure, just watch, or if you're comfortable just solving it with me, then totally don't pause the video. But if you're having some troubles with the tactic, just pause it and try your best. So I'm going to try to solve these for accuracy today. Not going to go for anything fancy with trying to get them as fast as possible to gain much more rating than if you use a lot of time. But I'll try to get everyone right. Okay, so I've passed 320 or 86%, and I've failed at 48 or 14%. And already I think that's too much, actually. I think that is way too much. Too many fails. And a lot of them was really hard. And some of them were quite easy, actually, but just so happened that I wasn't focused and didn't try to solve for accuracy, and that's why I'm going to do that right now. So let's start with the first puzzle here. So queen back to e3. So what can we do about that? Is he threatening anything? I'm not sure. I don't think so. Right now, at least. What can we threaten? There's the c2 pawn that is weak. Other than that, I'm not seeing much right now. It would be kind of nice to just try for something like h5, bishop h6, but it doesn't do much that either. The queen can come here and this bishop is guarded on c1. Like bishop h6, let's say h5 and bishop h6, it wouldn't do anything. We could go for knight to b4, but that actually might work, knight to b4, because bishop d3 doesn't work. I thought after knight b4 that bishop to d3 is just holding everything together. But actually it doesn't, because I can still capture with my bishop. And after pawn takes, which is the only move if you don't want to give away the queen, then knight captures c2, forking the king, the rook, and the queen. So I'm starting to feel like that might be the best choice. But what if knight b4, bishop b5 check? Because then after c6, he has bishop to a4. But then maybe we have queen to a5 check, which would then win the bishop on a4. We don't have this check. Our knight is in the way. What am I talking about? So knight b4, bishop b5, c6, bishop a4. I could capture with the bishop on c2. But that is just a pawn. Well, I will win the bishop on a4 maybe, because you have to prevent me from capturing that. Like, let's say knight b4, bishop to b5 check, c6, bishop a4, bishop captures c2. If he captures, we capture back, and that's bad because we are forking his king, queen, and rook. So what about just bishop b3 maybe? Bishop b3, bishop captures b3, queen captures b3. There's nothing. Huh. Maybe I'm overseeing something here. Knight b4, bishop b5. I think bishop b5 is the only move here. Knight b4, bishop b5. What if I could play some other move than c6? Problem is though, bishop to d7 doesn't work. Going with knight back doesn't work, and queen d7 just gives away a queen with check, so nothing happens there either. Knight b4, bishop b5, c6, bishop a4. I'm not seeing it. Knight b4. Okay, so what about something else? What if I play... That won't work. a6, oh my god. a6 and probably just c3, and everything is fine for white. Maybe even bishop b5. Knight b4, bishop b5, c6, bishop a4. Knight to d5. Might that be an idea? Threatening the queen. But queen to d2, or yeah, d2. Queen to d2 just solves that one too. Because then I don't have queen a5 check, winning that bishop on a4. Really frustrating. Knight b4, bishop b5, c6 check. Check, what am I talking about? Bishop b5 check, c6, bishop a4. What am I missing? Oh, I had it here in my mouth. What am I missing? Knight b4, bishop b5, c6, bishop a4. I really don't understand. So frustrating. After bishop a4. Bishop captures c2. Bishop b3. Queen a5. Then bishop to d2. And bishop captures b3. Queen captures b3. It doesn't work. my god. Okay, maybe there's something completely different in this position that I haven't figured out yet. Like knight b4 looked so promising, but after bishop to b5, everything just turns to dust, basically. The attack doesn't work. At least the fork doesn't work. I don't see how I can trigger it again. Knight b4, bishop b5, bishop d7, bishop captures d7, queen captures d7, queen b3, and nothing. Oh. You guys have totally seen this by now. I can feel it. It's just me that is blind for something. Knight b4, bishop b5, check, c6, bishop a4. We could try b5, then bishop b3. Okay, instead of b5, let's try knight to d5 again. Queen to d2, probably. And then I don't have queen a5 here. Once again, I don't have queen a5. This is starting to annoy me. Over 10 minutes into this one puzzle. It seems as if it should work, but I can't seem to find the right solution to these. After bishop b5, c6, bishop a4. What am I missing? Bishop a4. Like, yes, I can just capture that pawn. But is that truly enough? Bishop captures c2. So I win a pawn. That's true. And he can't take it back, so he has to play bishop back to b3 at least. Or something like that. And then, yeah, it looks decent. Looks decent enough. This d4 pawn too will be kind of weak for him. He doesn't have any other pawns to support it. Okay. I know I said that we were going to go for accuracy, but I don't see anything else than knight to b4 that could possibly work right now. It wins a pawn. Yeah. Let's just go for that. Now if I take with a knight, I think that is better than actually taking with a bishop. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So what does it want from me? What does it want from me? Queen a5, really? What about bishop to d2 at least? Okay, I have to check this one up. That's just too ridiculous. like queen a4, and bishop to b3 should just work, shouldn't it? It seems so weird. Queen at a5 was my first instinct, but okay, so let's go here. And queen a5, yeah. And what about bishop to d2? Or queen d2, yeah. Yeah, but yeah, no, bishop b3 was my, yeah, not bishop t2. So knight captures c. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Yeah, the accuracy of this is terrible. Of course it works. Queen a5. I blindsided myself there. I blindsided myself. Okay, let's continue. Queen to d3. And that's why I used so much time on it too, because I just blindsided myself. Okay. So I can't move my rook on f5. Then it leads to checkmate. At least if I take on e5. But what if I take on c4 first? He probably has to take that bishop, and then I can take the rook on e5. Because then he doesn't threaten mate, right? And then I also threaten to play rook to e1 check. And I don't think he can guard both his rook and the e1 square from that point. So bishop captures c4, queen captures c4, rook captures e5. And let's say the queen goes to f4. Or queen c2 might be a better try actually, because he still has this queen captures g6. But yeah. But he still has to prevent me from capturing the f1 rook. That's true. So he has to stay on this diagonal. So probably what? Bishop captures c4, queen captures c4, rook captures e5. King c2. Is that a possibility for him? No, then I take on c5. I'm pretty sure that's going to work. Bishop captures c4, queen captures c4, rook captures e5. I think the only way to stop me from both giving this check on e1 and / or winning the rook on f1 is to actually bring the king up to c2, but then that just leads to rook capturing on c5, and that's pinning the queen to the king on c2. But what else can he do? Bishop captures c4. Let's say queen captures f5. Then I would have to just take, and that is 2 rooks versus a queen and a knight versus a bishop. But I'm pretty confident that this bishop on c4 then can just take on f1. Yes. So there's going to be a rook and a knight versus a queen in that endgame. I'm very confident in this. Okay, problem solved. Okay. Let's continue. Queen to c3. So he's threatening to capture on g3, and that is mate. So I have to deal with that somehow. So the first thing we can look at is actually queen to d1 check. The rook has to move to g1, otherwise we win a queen. So queen d1 check, rook g1, then queen g4. Is that working? We're threatening mate on h3, and the king can't really go anywhere else than g2 in that case. And if it does, if it goes to g2, then probably just queen h3 mate. Now queen h3, then king to f3, and then we have bishop e1 check, which will win us the queen. Yes. Yeah, let's go for that. Queen d1 check, rook g1, queen to g4, threatening queen h3 mate, and king g2 meets queen h3, king to f3, and then bishop to e1 check. The rook can come in between, but we can just capture that rook with our queen with check. The king has to move somewhere, and then we can simply take off that queen with either our queen or bishop. Yeah, I'm sure. I am sure. Yes, problem solved. So we have 4 pawns if he chooses to capture that bishop on g3. So if we take back, then he probably takes on e5, and then we have queen f3 check. If king to h2, then queen to f4 check is trading the queens, and if king to g1, then queen to g3 check, also trading the queens. Yeah, let's continue. Knight captures e4. So if I play queen to e2 here, let's say, then knight captures d4, queen captures e4 check, knight to e6, or bishop to e6. Yeah, knight to e6, not bishop to e6. What if I play bishop to b5? Bishop b5, bishop d7. It doesn't seem to work. So the problem is, if I capture on c6 with my knight, he can capture back with his pawn, threatening my knight on d5. So that after queen to e2, I don't have anything. But this almost reminds me of, what is it? It's an Anand game, where he just gave up. It almost reminds me of, I don't know who he played though. Was it Kramnik? I think it was Kramnik. Anand versus Kramnik. I think that Anand just gave up in a couple of moves. But I don't think it's the exact same position as this. Uh-huh. Or maybe it is. I'm not sure. Anyways. What is the move? What is the move? Queen e2. knight captures d4, queen captures e4, knight e6. Maybe f4, bishop e7, and then f. No, it doesn't work. It does not work indeed. Huh. I have no clue actually. Bishop b5, bishop d7, bishop captures c6, pawn captures c6, and that's that. So we would have to do something about. All right, let's try that again. Bishop b5, bishop d7. Then if queen e2, knight captures d4, queen captures e4, knight e6, bishop captures d7 check, queen captures d7. Still nothing. Still nothing indeed. I hate it when I don't see what the thematic is in a puzzle or in a tactic, right? It's so weird. It feels like it should have something to do with queen to e2. But after knight captures d4, queen captures e4, there's just a fancy way of trading pieces. I could try bishop to c4, but I don't see where that's leading anyhow. Bishop c4 and knight captures d4, knight captures d4. Or maybe even after bishop c4, then queen h4. Ah. Oh. What the heck? I really don't know. Maybe I just found out actually. Am I that stupid? Wow. So maybe knight to b5. Maybe that's just it. Knight to b5. Threatening to capture on c7. Wow. Again, I'm so blind. So knight to b5 seems like it should work. Like, I win a pawn on c7 at least. I think so. Knight b5, if rook to b8, then knight b captures c7 check. So, I don't know where the king would go from there. Probably d7. But if g7, then I have queen to g4 check, winning that knight. So knight b5, rook b8. or a6. If a6, then I'm winning the rook. So knight b5, rook b8. Knight b captures c7 check. And yeah, there's only king to d7. Okay. That might lighten my burden a bit. Knight b5. I don't see how we can parry that. Knight b5. He doesn't have queen to e7 either to try some discoveries with this knight, because then I can just capture that queen. Let's go for it. Problem solved. Okay. And that one was rated 2,491. Okay. Wow. That one was heavy. I did not see knight to b5. Wow. That's so much fun when you when you have this really nice move that you think is nice, queen to e2, but nothing works. There's no way that that's going to work. Like, you trade a piece for a piece, and that's it. There's nothing going on after queen to e2. So yeah, I'm really happy that I found knight to b5. Okay, let's continue. King to g7. So the knight on f6 might be a bit loose, but it's not loose right now. I don't have anything else to attack it with. I could capture the rook on a8. I could give a check, but I don't see where that check leads me. So let's just look at queen captures a8. Bishop where? And if the bishop moves, we can simply trade queens, can't we? And the queen can simply come back to f3 after, let's say, I don't know, knight to d7. Anything, actually. It doesn't, like, it's just a clean rook. And I'm a piece down as well. But queen to g3 check, king h8, or knight to g6. Knight to g6 might be a bad move. So king to h8, and yeah, I don't have a mating pattern there. So queen g3, king h8. I could go and try for something like knight to g6 or knight captures f7. But the h7 square is covered by this knight, and there's not much else that I threaten. There's also the possibility of queen to g3 check, king h8, and queen to h4. That might be a solution. But I think after knight to g6, knight captures g6, pawn captures g6, that after queen captures h6, he has maybe just king to g8 and queen to g5. That's just going to be a repetition. Queen g3, king h8, queen h4. One of the knights could also come back to g8 to cover that pawn. Yeah. Or the king could simply go back to g7. Okay, I'm going to take the rook then. Problem solved. Okay. But it's interesting though, because queen to g3 might look like it's leading to a mate or something like that. But I don't see anything other than, at best, a repetition there. Yeah, let's continue. King to g6. So if it weren't for the knight on b8, I would have a nice little mate on d7 with my rook or queen. Is there some way to exploit that? So if I play queen to d7 check, knight captures, of course. Then knight to b5 check, king to c6. It doesn't work. I need to cover the c6 square. So what then? I could also try something like knight to e4 check. Pawn captures e4. Then I can't swap the queens, nah. So that doesn't seem to work either. What about queen b4 check? c5. Well, he doesn't need to play c5. He could just play king back to c6. But then maybe queen a4 check. The king has to go back to d6. Or he could play b5 and I would just take b5 and the king would have to go to d6 and then queen to b4 again. So queen b4 and then c5. Doesn't work. Again, I'm tempted with queen to d7, knight captures d7. But I don't see a good follow-up because he can always go to c6. What about rook to d7 check? Knight captures d7. Then the e7 square is a possible way for him to go. What about queen b4 check, c5, knight b5 check, king to c6. Nah. No, no, no. Nay, nay. I feel like I'm onto something though. Queen b4, c5, knight b5 check, king c6. Queen a4. Queen a4. Could that work? Then he might have a mate himself actually with rook captures h2. That's a problem. He's threatening rook captures h2. Ah. Wow. I have to be very careful here. Very careful indeed. Queen d7 check, knight captures d7. Knight b5 check. King c6. But I can't stall with something like a4 because then rook captures h2 is just leading to mate again. Could this be that hard? Knight e5, knight e4 check, pawn captures e4, queen captures g5, bishop captures g5. Nah, that doesn't work, but okay, queen e5 check, queen captures e5, pawn captures e5, king captures e5. No, there's nothing going on there. What is it then? Queen b4 check, c5. If d captures c5, then he gets the e5 square free for his king. So queen b4, c5, knight b5 check, king c6. Knight captures a7, rook captures a7, and nothing. Queen b4, c5. Ah, oh my god. Is that it? Queen b4, c5, knight b5 check, king c6, rook captures c7. That is a mate. That is definitely a mate. Okay. So I've found mate at least, but does it work? Queen b4. What about queen c6? King c6. So queen b4, king c6. Then maybe queen a4. Check. Queen a4 check. Then king back to d6 and then knight to b5 check. Only move king c6 and then rook capture c7. Okay, I'm gonna go for that. And here, here, and here. Oh my god. That one was really nice. So if he plays b5 here, I can just take with the queen, and then the king has to go back to d6, and then I repeat queen to b4 again, or even queen to c5. Then that's just mate. So yeah, b5 isn't working. Really nice pattern though. It isn't something that you see every day. But once I noticed rook captures c7, then it was kind of straightforward. I like that. I really like it. Okay, so let's go for two more. Let's go for two more. All right. Bishop captures f5. Okay. So I have some options in this position. I can play bishop to d5, which seems like a really good move. And the reason for me saying that is because of the bishop to g5, knight captures g5, pawn captures g5, queen to e6. I have e captures f5, forking the queen and the knight. And the queen can't really go anywhere else. It doesn't have any other square to go to than e6. And I don't think that I can trap that queen either. So I think the best thing to hope for here is that fork on f5, forking the queen and the knight. And it works even if it doesn't take on g5 with this knight right there. So bishop g5. if queen e6, then e captures f5. And I'm just winning a piece. I should be winning a piece. I don't see how we can do anything about that. So bishop g5, knight captures, pawn captures, queen e6, pawn captures f5. He can't take, so he has to retreat, let's say to d7. Then we just take on g6. And that means that he has one bishop left, and we have a knight and a bishop left. Yeah, let's go for it. Yeah, now let's go. Let's just think here, at least for 1 second. Because I told you that we have that fork right now, but if we take on f5, can he actually give a check, let's say, on g5 first or something? But it doesn't seem that way. So if we take on f5, he can take on g5 actually, trying to be really big something. But all right, I don't see it. I don't see it. If we take the bishop, then he can actually take back with his queen, and then after we take on f5, he has a safe square on f4. So nah, let's just take. Yes, okay. And again, if we take on e7, he can take back with his knight. So we have to take here. Yeah, problem solved. Okay. I think this was quite easy for a 2119 rated puzzle. But yeah, I was I was patient there because I didn't want to fuck this up, of course. But it looked so straightforward once you see that this e catches f5 might be a fork if the queen was on e6, and you can force the queen there by playing bishop to g5. So yeah. Okay, let's go for the last one. Queen to f8, wanting to trade queens. Isn't this just a mate though? Queen captures h7, king captures h7, pawn captures g6. That looks almost like a mate to me. The problem is that queen to h6. Yeah, no, it's a double check. So yeah, it's a mate. Queen captures h7, king captures h7, pawn captures g6. There's no way he can prevent that. Nah. Okay, so queen h7, king h7, pawn captures g6. That's mate. Okay, problem solved. So I leave off with a 1747 puzzle. Okay, anyways. So the target time for this was 16 seconds and I used 49. And it's much more easy to use lesser time when you don't talk about the puzzles as well. But that's what you get from making these videos, right? It goes slowly upwards, but I think actually I have lost more rank points this session than I started with. But okay, anyways. Thank you guys so much for joining in. It's been a real pleasure solving these with you, and see you next time.